poor Black women that were stronger, tougher, had thicker skin. And somehow it trickled into even medical school. And there are medical students that truly believe and was in medical books that Black women have thicker skin. They have a higher pain tolerance. As a culture, we complain more. We're more dramatic. Even though their pain tolerance is higher, they're going to fuss about it more. And we're not being listened to. We're not being heard. It's the story over and over and over again.
Hi, I'm Clarissa from Love Fearlessly. I want to tell you about the products we create with faith and purpose in mind. At Love Fearlessly, we design biblical affirmation cards, journals, and wall art to encourage you and keep God's promises front and center in your life. These are more than just beautiful items, they're tools to help you stay rooted in Scripture, speak life over yourself, and create an atmosphere of faith in your home. Whether you're starting your day with affirmations, journaling your prayers, or decorating your space with God's truths, our products are here to remind you that His love and promises never fail. So if you're ready to bring more faith and encouragement into your daily life, check us out. At Love Fearlessly, we're here to help you live boldly in God's love.
What's up, Brave Hearts community? This is Sean Heineman, your premier pre-engagement coach, back with another segment of It's Scary to Remarry, encouraging you to love fearlessly in the house. Well, not in the house, but you know how we do. With my co-host, Aquila Maddox. How are you doing, Q?
I'm doing good. What's up, everybody?
I'm excited about today's segment.
So yeah, but I'm excited for this episode as well. We have a very special guest, and we've actually had a guest doing similar work before, but we can never have this conversation too often. And I'm really looking forward to diving in and hearing more from a different standpoint, because last time we talked to a person who was get me right,
Neurodivergent.
neurodivergent, who was also a doula, and that was a very interesting conversation, and it was very enlightening. So I'm excited for us to talk babies and stuff today, y'all, because if Sean tried to make one of us get pregnant on the last episode, and I was like, I'm opting out of that. He can have more babies. Say you're 6 months pregnant, but anyway, no, but in all honesty, it's really a very important conversation for many reasons. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, for sure. More than a birth coach, how doulas can empower Black women. We're going to jump into today's segment. Today's guest is a mother of two, became a doula in 2019, and she's attended and assisted over 200 births. I want to talk about that as well. She's dedicated to helping women reclaim their birth stories and their bodies, respecting and protecting their innate power. Brave Hearts community, let's show some love to Eve Newell. How you doing this evening, Eve?
Peace. I'm good. Auntie Eve is good for me.
Auntie Eve.
I love it.
Auntie
Gotta
Eve is good.
represent.
My
Yes.
nieces and nephews say Auntie Eve. It's like one word.
I love it. I love it. I love the creativity.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Gotta love the kids. Yes, I want to jump into this because this is something that I'm passionate about because I hear this so much. And of course, my wife is she had three boys. So I'm familiar with some of the terms and all of the good stuff, but I definitely want to go further into this topic. Well, first of all, who inspired you to become the woman that you are today?
Ooh, so many. I feel like inspiration evolves. So as a child, my primary example was my mother and my aunties, my father and my uncles. And I've evolved as a doula and a birth worker and a student midwife now. And I'm really inspired by the women that came before me. Like I am I am driven by women that I actually have never met before. And I'm fueled by women that have experienced things and I've never met those women before. And then really myself.
Yeah.
I've learned to dig into myself and desire to be the best version of myself and inspire myself and push myself. Um, I'm a people pleaser by nature. and a servant. You know, a lot of times we go into these types of career paths when we are people pleasers. You are a service industry type person. But learning how to kind of channel that and put myself first and think of myself first, because that is how I'm able to serve others at my highest version.
I
Mhm.
love that. I
Mhm,
love that so much. And
Yes.
I
mhm.
think that it's a really good I think that's a really good like self-observation.
Yeah.
Also one fellow people pleaser to another. Um, we're in the support group, y'all. Join us. Okay. We're in
But
there.
it can be really great as a doula. Like, that's
Yeah.
helpful. I can feel a woman's needs sometimes before she does. But for yourself, like when your therapist is like, "So what are you doing for yourself?" And you're like,
I'm
"I
sorry,
ate
who's self? Who's
I
yourself?
ate dinner. I ate dinner today with vegetables,
With
and I took a
vegetables.
shower." She's like, "That those are basic needs," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And for a very long time, I didn't know, like, how do you take care of yourself?
That's really good. So I like that. I like how you were able to like, channel
Mm,
like you said that's enough. Believe it or not, so there's so many negative conversations around people pleasing, but I
mhm.
love how you were able to say, I understand that that's also there are some positive aspects to that.
Sure.
I think that we don't always consider that or hear it referenced in such a way because it does become the fuel sometimes to our success in very much in other areas.
Yes.
I mean, even parenting sometimes, like being a people pleaser kind of puts you in a position to say, let me be objective,
Mhm.
and think about the needs of the
I,
child in a very different perspective. So I think that was just a really powerful observation that you
mhm.
made. I just wanted to tell you that.
That's what's the same with the teenager. You when you grow up in a different era, right? They didn't think about how things might make you feel. It's like, well, I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna feel.
You ain't telling no story.
Today, we think I'm trying to think, how would she feel? How does she feel in her life?
Hello, life. Look, she said,
A little small, short life.
That's
Mhm.
funny.
I
No,
feel like
totally.
I'm new to the video podcast, so I feel like my eyes are doing like I'm looking at y'all.
it's
So,
fine.
Yeah, you're good.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
It's totally
yeah.
fine.
Yeah. No,
Our eyes are gonna do that.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah, we're good. What exactly does a doula do, and how is it different from a midwife or OBGYN?
Mhm. So, I can share my journey and the definitions kind of together. As I'm not I'm an out of the box kind of woman. I think you already know that about me though.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't have your typical response. I think textbook response, short and sweet, is a doula is a support person. She's going to support a pregnant person, as we're supposed to say, birthing people. I support women. But during pregnancy, labor and delivery, and postpartum, and that's physical, emotional, spiritual, essentially like your best friend that nerded out on all things pregnancy and is like right there by your side, guiding you with education and information to help you have the best pregnancy based on how you want to see your birth happen, your birth goals.
Mm.
Um, and a midwife is a trained professional care provider. She is a healthcare provider. She is usually a nurse first,
Mm-hmm.
um, or traditionally trained by women that have been giving birth in the community, in homes, or in birthing centers for usually decades, and were trained by women before, and they do apprenticeships together. And she serves as essentially the doctor or the healthcare provider for the pregnant mother. So a midwife and a doula work together, in a hospital setting would look like the OBGYN and the nurse. But
Mm.
we are out in the more of a holistic stance. It is the midwife and the doula.
Got you. Love it.
Mhm.
Love it. I'm glad you.
So right now, I'm both.
So
Right
it's like a
now,
partnership.
it is a partnership. It is a part because the midwife is going to check on your health. You know, how are you? Midwives are going to be a bit more personal than an OBGYN would be. So they're going to ask about your family, your work life, your emotions, how are you feeling? They're going to connect with you and have longer appointments. But she is also primarily responsible for your health, your blood pressure, your gestational diabetes risk ranges, anything going on with baby. They listen to baby's heart tones, they measure your baby, they take your blood, they run your labs, they fill your prescriptions. This is the doctor you're going to see you, monthly, then biweekly, then weekly, in the same way that you see an OBGYN.
Love it. Love
Got
it.
it. Question.
Mm-hmm.
What does midwife stand for?
So the term midwife defined is with woman.
Okay.
And it was kind of translated. And you will hear midwife and you will hear medwife. And some feel like midwife is a derogatory term, but there are some midwives that are more medical and have nursing degrees and are nurse practitioners. And then there are midwives that are more holistic. And so in mm, early 1900s, and of course all the way back through the 1800s, but for us 1900s, I think we would be called midwives. But prior to that, there was always somebody, a wise woman, an elder that were with women when it was time for them to give birth.
I love it. And it
Mhm.
reminds me of back in the day, one of my friends used to say, my husband has a really great wife. She's talking about herself. She was like, I need a great wife.
I need one.
I
Oh
need
my
a
gosh.
great. She's like, I need a great wife. My
Mm.
husband has a phenomenal wife. She keeps
I
everything
love it.
together. She was like, but I need a good wife now. Like, I need one. I need somebody to. So what I feel like, you know, all jokes aside, is that's the opportunity to have that wife, is that person that's reflective of you, that's
Yeah.
going to, like you said, tend to the whole person,
Yes.
not just the purpose that you're called for in that moment,
Mm.
which is giving birth, but making sure
Yes.
you are in a position to be
Oh,
good and healthy and mentally what's going on, and let's check in because in reality, that's a beautiful part about being an actual wife, right?
that's
Um,
right.
I'm not married in this season, but when I was a wife, that was the beautiful part to me that I get to provide that
Same.
version of support to my husband. And I
Same.
was able to check in with him and the whole purpose, and I mean, him and the whole person, and be also understanding and supportive of whatever that purpose is, whether it's
It's
momentarily or the season. So,
a,
yes,
a helper, a guide.
yes.
When you look
Mhm.
at midwives are not ever going to say, well, we're going to take the baby, or we're going to, some of the terminology that you hear from OBGYNs, or, you need to do this, you need to do that. Midwives believe that the body was designed to give birth, and we are just to guide and watch and give you assistance should something vary from normal. But essentially, we stand by and allow your body to do what it needs to. And the care that we provide is reminding you to care for yourself. How is the relationship with your partner? Is there a partner there? How's work going? How are your emotions? Because the mind is the captain of this whole ship.
Absolutely.
And as a doula, it's the same. You connect emotionally with your clients. And for me, serving Black women, I got to build relationship. Like we sign a contract, but she's not going to trust me if I don't get to know her.
Absolutely.
And that is the cultural competency that I think a lot of our white counterparts don't always have or need necessarily if they're only serving white mothers. If they're serving Black mothers, you got to have the cultural competency to know like Black women don't trust nobody, especially if I'm about to have a baby. And you're great, and I follow you on social media, and I think it's all wonderful, and I hired you as my doula, but also I don't know you.
And this
And
is a
so
very
my
personal space. This is very
this is
personal.
this is all my vagina news. What are you saying?
Did you say news? Okay.
You know that This is like, the New York Times. Like,
No,
what are
it
you
is.
talking
Because it
about? Like,
is.
so I have to intentionally speed date my clients, like getting to know them. I don't really have to tell you how to have a baby. My job as a doula can be teaching you how to breathe and helping you with physical things and positions and what medicines to take and not take. But really, my job as a doula is getting you to trust your body to do what it's supposed to do based on what you want to do. Because that's what it was designed to do in birth. Every part of the woman's body, from the breast to the hips to the womb to
I
the
know.
behind to the stretching to our elasticity, everything. If this was a Ferrari that you were supposed to drive 180 down the freeway, this body was only made for having babies.
Mm.
And so I don't have to tell your body how to have a baby. I really have to get to know you so that you trust me, so that when I say, you're okay, this is normal. I've seen this before. Or no, you don't need that. I don't, what they saying is probably just to rush your baby out, or they may not really be listening to you, or that may be a hospital policy, but that doesn't mean that that's something one size fits all. And if you don't trust me and you got white coat syndrome and you're a black woman and you thought you wanted to have me, but then the doctor is saying another thing, nothing I say is going to matter.
That's good.
That's good.
White coat syndrome.
I know, right? She's at White Coast
We
Syndrome.
all got it.
Yeah.
I think it's black people, white people too, but I'm all I know is black. It's light skin. We be real black, so I'm very black. So
I'm just grateful you understand, Eve. I'm just grateful.
we the most black. See, what they don't know is we really chocolate.
We what?
We really chocolate.
Absolutely. Girl, I love her. This is my sister, y'all.
I'm chocolate. I mean, y'all can't see it, but I am chocolate. So,
Absolutely. We're absolutely chocolate. Mhm.
and most of us have white coat syndrome, and some of it can be labeled as hypertension.
Wow. Interesting. I
Why
never.
is that?
Yeah.
Because anxiety and fear go hand in hand with your blood pressure. So when your blood pressure is elevated because you are stressed, the top number on your blood pressure is going to be higher because
Right.
that number is reflective of anxiety, fear, stress, overwhelm. And if you're standing in front of a doctor that's about to take your blood pressure, especially if you're hoping that your blood pressure isn't high because you're one that's had high blood pressure, or like I had a mother that I doulaed and she wasn't expecting, but she was having plastic surgery and she wanted somebody to go with her, but she was scared of the doctors. And she was doing a mommy makeover and she couldn't do the procedure if her blood pressure wasn't a certain level. They wouldn't approve you to do
I've
the
heard.
procedure. And when she went in to get her mommy makeover, every time they took her blood pressure, it was like she was having a stroke. It was so high. And she started taking her blood pressure at home, and it was perfectly fine. Every time she went back to the provider, 215 over 100, like no games blood pressure, like high. And her doctor finally was like, you know what? Let's try something else. And he went out of the doctor's office from the community and dressed in regular clothing and went to her home and monitored her blood pressure, and it was perfectly fine. And she was like, the funny thing is, you don't even look like yourself when you're not in your office with your stuff on. And he was like, you have white coat syndrome. It's a real thing. And those blood pressures will be out of control because yeah, I mean, think about it. Think about all we've been through.
Mhm.
Think about your ancestors that had work
I
done
get
without anesthesia, and all that fear lives in your energy.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have that anxiety and don't even know where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even just the judgment, or like you said, the lack of trust because
Mm.
you came in the room. I really don't know if you got my best interest at heart, and I don't know if you see me or if you see dollar signs. And I get that while I may not have an insurance, let's just pretend that
Mhm.
pays all of the things, I still am a person. So therefore, are you now seeing me as I'm not enough dollar signs, or are you
Mhm.
seeing me as I'm of the right amount of dollar signs? And that's how you're gonna, and now you're gonna overly diagnose me with something so that I can continue to, provide financial income for you or whatever. And then, or am I not enough dollar signs? And so you just don't put in the best love and care and
Yeah,
attention when it comes to me, right? So I do
exactly.
understand, and I could say this, I can understand how it could
Hmm.
definitely be something that affects people and just even the psychology around seeing this person walking in a room and not having that connection with them. But real quick,
Yeah,
because I know we have some more questions we
yeah.
would like to get into, but
Let me just
I
check.
but you just said something that also was a little like you
Hold
said,
on.
I doulaed a person who wasn't pregnant. Can we talk about that? Because
Doulas.
what does doula mean now? I feel like everything I know just went like, that emoji with the brain that just like that's me right now. I was like, okay,
Well, there are doulas,
educate me on
baby. There are
what
doulas
does the
for
word doula mean now? What does
everything.
it even mean? Like, I don't even know what it means now. The fact that you doula the person ain't got no baby. What does it even
You
mean, Sean?
know, don't give me to line on the direct definition of doula, but I believe it means servant or female servant. And doulas are aunties. Doula is a new term. Doula is for relatively new, right? Maybe mid 1900s. So, like when we was born, because my
Yeah.
daughter loves to say, "Mommy, you was born in 1900s, huh?"
Yeah, my daughter says that too. Well, listen, when we figure out where we're gonna upgrade them at and trade them into, I'll let
The
you know.
new iOS, that new iOS
The
system.
new.
The new
So,
iOS.
doulas, you have doulas that support families through death when they think somebody is going to transition. You have doulas that support with miscarriages, postpartum doulas, birth doulas, preconception doulas, sleep doulas, sex doulas. Doula, if you think of a doula as an auntie, which is why I say Auntie Eve, the auntie that's the go-to for the thing. Like I got this auntie, she gotta go with me to the doctor's office because she be knowing. She know all the
Mhm.
things.
And she
But you
gonna ask
also,
the questions.
she gonna ask the question. She don't care about them people, and if I die, she gonna kill them. You have like you have the auntie that's gonna make the obituaries. Like she got all the pictures for everybody, and
She
if
got
somebody
those.
passing away, she gonna come take care of them. You could have a doula for almost any need in your life. And as a doula, you can have there are full spectrum doulas. So you could have a doula for anything,
So
honestly.
just
And it
because
would
you said
just
that, I did go to Google and ask Google at us, Auntie Google at. I had to ask Google at her what she had to say about what doula mean.
what she
Now,
say?
girl, let me tell you what she said. So she said, girl, that a person trained to advise, inform, and offer emotional and physical support to a pregnant person before, during, and after birth of her child. However, the word doula comes from the Greek word doule, the meaning of which translate to female helper or
Yeah.
maidservant.
Oh, that brain be braining, baby. You know
It be
what
braining, girl. You
I'm
got that
saying?
thing, honey. You
Got to
felt it in your
just pull the
shana now,
files.
girl. It's in your shana now.
I love it. This is so good.
I
Very
love to be, I
informative.
love it.
Very informative. Yeah, because I didn't know that. I was just looking at it from, this
Sean, he
Pregnancy.
just
that's a
over
whole
there like,
conversation.
ooh. It is a whole conversation.
Yeah.
Now I want to sleep doula
I'll come through.
because I need to go to bed sometimes. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Take care of these kids. Oh, so what questions should someone ask when interviewing a potential doula to make sure that they're the right fit?
Hmm. So it's a two-way conversation for me in consultations with my clients. And I think, first and foremost, like do your homework on what a doula is. Because my brain is what I'm getting paid for. Like what my knowledge and what I have to share with you costs money
Mhm.
because I've been put in a position to attend so many births and see so many things. And I've taken so many trainings and classes. And so sometimes there's a line where the thought is that hiring a doula is she's gonna come help me do some magic, and I'm gonna have a birth without a epidural, and she's gonna take the pain away, and she's gonna help my husband, and we're gonna be good. And that's not really the primary role of the doula. She will come and help with comfort measures, and she will come and take care of you. So you can ask those things, but do your research first and make sure that this is a certified doula, that she's been working for XYZ amount of time, or that she has said she's a newer doula, but this is where she's trained, and this is who she shadowed under. And then like, if she's trained and certified and you've looked at all of that, like, you see a hairstylist, you'd be like, I mean, I know she good. Then you want to know, are you my style? Like, if you went to Paul Quinn and you did this, you might not be my style. Maybe I need somebody that went to, Spelman. What style person? Like, find out about her personality. Are your spiritual beliefs in alignment? Ask that doula, what are your spiritual beliefs? And I'm not a fan of I support everybody and I respect everybody. That's great. But what do you believe? Do we believe the same?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Because
good.
having that alignment is very important, especially when we're talking about bringing another human to the earth. And depending on how you believe and how they believe, a match would be very good.
Yeah,
um you
that's
know
good.
and I think that clients should ask, what kind of availability do you have? What kind of backup do you have? Like, if I'm doing May and this is a time where you have a senior in high school and they're doing a whole lot of stuff and you got to go to your daughter's graduation, are you going to miss your daughter's graduation and come to my birth, or are you going to send somebody else? If you send a backup doula, who is it? Can I meet the backup doula first? you know um find out, like, how many complications they've seen, what kind of complications they've seen. Do you primarily birth in the hospital, or do you primarily birth at home? When I do both, but when I realized that I wasn't a big fan of Western medicine at all, I kind of pulled myself out of the hospital scene, unless it was a client that I knew was like, I'm holistic, but I got these things going on, but I'm dead set on how I want to do it. For doulas as well, ask the client, what kind of birth goals do you have? Do you want an epidural or do you not? And they're like, oh, well, I'm gonna wait and see how I feel. And if I want, ma'am, you get an epidural. And that's fine. But if you in that hospital and they making McDonald's French fries, you're gonna eat them French fries, because of McDonald's French fries, you can't resist them. Unless you just like, no,
Dead set. Oh, I get you.
absolutely not. This is not what I'm doing, period. Because I've got more than one child, and I had an epidural with one. And when you have a choice, you either believe what the doctor told you, or you can't resist,
Mm-mm.
unless you are just, this is absolutely positively my goal.
That
And
is
as
so true.
doulas, I think as doulas, you need to be that. A lot of times families will interview a doula, and she may say, I support your choices, whatever they are. I'm unbiased, which we are supposed to be trained to say and do. Be unbiased, whatever you want and however you want it. But I do also think you should talk about some of the specificities in your niche and your beliefs and the births that you've supported, so that you're more properly aligned. Not just, I can do it all. I'm trained to do everything. We're not genies. We're not genies. And you have a better chance at a birth outcome that you desire if you hire a doula that is similar to your beliefs, that is similar to your personality style. If you need somebody that's going to push you, keep going, girl, let's go. Or if you need somebody that's going to be like, oh, you're doing so good. You look great. Keep it up. Like, do you need tough love? Do you need nurturing? And you ask, what is your style? Is your style of dueling nurturing? Or are you more tough love? Or, you know, how do you work with husbands? Will you be comfortable with teaching my husband how to do the things, or do you do the things? Do you teach classes? What kinds of classes do you teach?
That's
How
good.
often do you teach these classes? Like,
So the question asking is like, I think that's like you said, it's important to, and I think that would make you're in essence telling people too, you got to do a little homework with self and find out what it is that you actually like, um, for yourself. What are your own
Hmm.
personal goals and things like that? That's important. You're kind of giving people a little bit of a homework assignment as well,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to
Because
be
this
able to
is, you are
check in.
birthing a baby.
Yeah. But I think it's not. But remember, talk about you led with people pleasing. Sometimes we're not always good at sitting with ourselves and saying, how
Mm-mm.
do I want this to look for me? How,
Hmm.
because there's so many people that impart into us when it comes to being pregnant or first time
Yeah.
moms or second time moms and things like that. So it's
Hmm.
not hard to find yourself leaning into everybody else's recommendations. So
Yeah.
what I'm hearing you say is, which is good, to have that moment where you sit and take, inventory of what it is that you want. What are your
Hmm.
personal goals? Now, I did do the things. I sat down and I said, I was like, and to your point, that was just so good to hear. I definitely did exactly what you said. Like, I made a decision, and I didn't have a doula or either the midwife, but I made that decision. I said I wanted to have my kids naturally, no epidural, and I was able to be successful
Yeah.
because of
Because
what
you
you
know what you
like
wanted.
having it. Dead set on talking through all of the things, and I wasn't motivated by fear to do it, but I just was like, this is what I want.
Hmm.
And I want to
You
give
had to
at the best
just,
at my best chance. I want to give it my best, opportunity to do that. And like you said,
hmm.
in those moments of pain, you can speak all kind of tongues, amen. And you can
Amen.
find yourself, you can find yourself being like, on second thought, do you got a
Speaking of
cocktail ready?
drugs, is he outside? Is he outside? Bring that
Has
in here.
anybody got a cocktail? I mean, I'm taking Long Island's, epidurals, whatever you got.
Whatever you got. What is it, the IV or the in my back? It's
I
fine.
don't know where
I
it's going, guys. If you're sticking it in my forehead at this
don't even,
point,
but you need that. You need that. You need to have a goal in as people pleasers and even fear, like you said, first
Mhm,
time moms.
mhm.
Like I think that homework, or when you say like what questions should family ask when they're hiring a doula, is ask themselves questions first.
Yeah,
Why do I
it's
want a
good.
doula? Not just because so and so said I should hire a doula, or I've been following her and I've been watching these videos and I really want to.
Mhm.
You got to want it in your soul.
Yeah.
Well, I just got questions because I ain't had no baby, but I need to know your your spiritual background. Because if I need a sleep doula or something, because I think you're great. I think
I
you're
feel
great.
like
I'm trying to
I
find a
feel
reason to
like
hire her, Sean. I'm trying to
That's
see
funny.
how.
see how we can
Because
work this in.
the
So
broader
I feel
range of
like my base, my foundation is Christian, but I feel like my traditional Christian family members, especially my grandmother and them, would look at me. I mean, look at the little lady back there up there
I see your
smoking.
girl. I still feel
No,
like, okay, we got a similar flavor. We got a
no,
similar. This may
there's a
work
lot
out,
of
Sean.
spirituality. There's a lot of Afrocentricness. There's a lot of knowledge of chakras and energy in our bodies, but I don't think that those things are sinful if we talk about like traditional Christianity in the Bible. Like if you dig deep, they're saying the same thing.
Yeah,
Frankincense and myrrh and sage are all in the Bible as well. And so that's a whole nother podcast too, right?
that's a whole
But
nother podcast.
I
But
love
meanwhile, back at the
Jesus.
ranch, when this is over, I need to get her when we get this contact
Let's talk.
information, I'm taking it for myself. You know what I'm
We're
saying?
best
funny.
friends. This
Okay,
this
Sean.
was
Okay, we're
just
gonna
so
act
that we
right,
could
Sean.
be
We're
Sean.
gonna act right.
We got this.
I
No,
have
I
a
love it.
question. The Black mortality rate for Black women in the U.S. is alarmingly high. So, what do you see as the biggest contributors to this crisis?
They're racist.
All right, next question.
So,
I'm just kidding.
so here's the thing. It's systemic though. And so to be perfectly honest, it is like being trained in something and not necessarily recognizing that what you're being trained in has roots in racism. And so it is systemically racist and biased. And a lack of education on our parts as well. But because whatever the doctor, how many of our mothers said, you ain't the doctor, you didn't go to college for that.
Honey,
Whatever the doctor
you ain't
tells you
lying.
to do, that's what you do. You don't know. You need to take them medicines and do what that doctor told you because the doctor know. And somewhere we forgot what we know. about our
Because our
own body.
body talks to us, and I'm learning that as I've gotten older, that my body
Eh,
gives me so much information. Like I'll be telling
so
people,
much.
I'm like, I'm not doing sugar this month. They're like, why? I'm like,
Yeah.
my body said I need spinach,
We are the
kale.
same person. Like this was only for us to me. Like I don't
This
even
was
know
what that's
this
exactly what it is.
if
I'm not
anybody's
even kidding. I'm like, this is what
because
my
I will
body
be like,
said
I
we
don't eat
need this.
meat. And then I'll be like, I need to eat steak. I had to eat steak this month.
These things.
And because my
Oh,
iron or because something, we have to learn that. And because we are not in tune with our bodies and we do have an innate learned behavior of trusting what the doctor says, and because the medical model of care in Western medicine kind of rolled in to control and intervene. And Black women were tested on without anesthesia.
Hmm.
That's how all of our procedures, that's how all of our equipment and things for gynecology and obstetrics were found by slave women and poor Black women that were stronger, tougher, had thicker skin. And somehow it trickled into even medical school. And there are medical students that truly believe and was in medical books that Black women have thicker skin. They have a higher pain tolerance. As a culture, we complain more. We're more dramatic. Even though their pain tolerance is higher, they're going to fuss about it more. And we're not being listened to. We're not being heard. It's the story over and over and over again of a woman saying, I don't feel right. Something don't feel right. I don't know what's going on with me. And the husband saying, you sure? And it's like, yeah. And he's like, well, my wife is saying she don't feel good. We need to come in. And then the doctor's saying, you're fine. You just had a baby and this, that, and the other. And they just hear that you're complaining. Maybe they're on Medicaid. Maybe they're not. Whatever the case may be, they're Black.
Yep.
And it's very clear that it's happening to Black women. And for me, I don't I don't shout from the mountaintops that Black women and babies are dying. I can't do it. I read it, I see it. I shout from the mountaintop that we're changing the narrative.
that's good.
Learn your body, educate yourself, find out what ticks and how it ticks, read up on it, take some herbal classes. Everybody could be an herbalist, everybody could be a nutritionist. You can learn these things about how to just use real foods to take care of yourself and learn what's happening in your body and stay out of that drive-through and off of that DoorDash as much as you can so that you can be healthy, so that you can raise your children so that they can be healthy. And we change that narrative by supporting women in birth, being with women, standing beside them, saying, well, sis, you're exhausted in early pregnancy because your iron is low, because most of us as Black women are anemic, and because you need some folate. Because we don't eat enough dark leafy greens and fresh fruits and vegetables. We're used to canned greens, the frozen things. And so you need to get something real and fresh, and you would have more energy and you would feel better. It's cool. I got you. You just need somebody beside you that knows
Yes.
and can
Because that
guide
builds
you.
the confidence, especially because, like you said, not everybody is educating themselves. So it
Mm-mm.
builds confidence to say, you are my Google now, right?
Yeah,
You're my
and I tell my clients that stay off of Auntie Googlet, stay off of that, and
Mhm.
call me, text me. If it's not an emergency, I might not get it till tomorrow, but
Yeah.
I'm anytime.
Because the generalization is not helpful, and we don't
We are
realize
not
that
the
it's not
same.
helpful. But it's not. The generalization is not specific to every person. So
Nope.
even like I had a hysterectomy,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody by way of just, advocating for me as a Black woman was like, don't have the hysterectomy. Well, I had 3 cancer scares. So I'm having a
It needs to
hysterectomy.
be removed.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. So the chances are going to increase for me if I don't take care of this. So needless to say, um, my point is like I said, sometimes we're so far in like promoting one thing and then and on
Mhm.
the other end of the spectrum, there's not enough things. But when I was going through that, I made a commitment to be a good patient
Yeah.
because I don't think we are good patients all the time with
Not
ourselves,
always.
right?
Mhm.
So, and I think because, and I was, I think we hold ourselves under scrutiny a lot of times because, and I was just telling, someone today, like, we hold ourselves as such a standard because we're grown. Like, oh, I'm grown. I'm not supposed to be bothered by anything. I'm not supposed to be as much in pain. I'm not supposed
And
to.
we're strong.
And
And we're
that's what I'm
strong.
saying. That's what that equates to. Grown means strong. Like grown means deal with everything. Don't cry. Don't be bothered. Nothing's overwhelming.
I'm
Nothing.
fine. I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what
fine.
I'm saying.
I'm
Yeah,
fine.
we're grown. So
Yeah.
because you're grown, so what I'm saying is that when I was intentionally, I took the pain meds, the amount of time they said. And yes, I got good sleep. Amen.
Amen.
Really amazing sleep. However, I took the meds that the amount of time that they said, and I get it. I'm doing what the white coat said, but listen to what I know. I was taking heed of for myself. I'm not always a good patient with me.
Yeah.
I accelerate my healing on my own.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, I think I'm good now. Why? Because I got a job to do, bills to
yeah.
pay,
And I
take
don't
care of
need no
things.
more of this. I'm
And I
good
don't
to go.
need no more of this. And I tap out of the process, the due process for my recovery. And that's what I think, is nice is to have someone who sometimes the issue is not having the confidence to endure the process
Yeah.
because we have, like I said, all of these pressures that are
And
silent.
if you take the pressures out, right? That's why I
Yes.
said my best bet is to help you be relaxed, your emotional state, to calm down,
Yeah.
to be your number one inspiration, right? Then you have more space to educate yourself on what is right and what's not right, and not just what the doctor said, and or letting the doctor say, well, probably ain't nothing wrong with you, and then you have a foundation of education about yourself and your body, and you can advocate for yourself confidently,
Yeah.
not like you heard it on Google or you thought.
Exactly.
Like I have a trained professional that knows these things, and two, I know my body and I know myself, and
Yep.
I know I need to listen to what this doctor is telling me, or I know you're not hearing what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Change your provider. You can get a
Yeah.
new provider. If they're not a good match, that's not you paying them. I don't care if it's Medicaid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
Even though
good.
we might not have Medicaid in 7 days. I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh, Jesus.
that's
All
another.
right, next question.
Yeah, that's another topic. Yeah, that's oh my God. I want to because this has been great. I want to just take
I
a
know.
quick break real quick because this is very informative. I wanted to
My
talk
best
to you
friend.
about our sponsor from the Love Fearlessly Intimacy Card Deck that my wife and I
Mm.
created. You can find it at scaredtoremarry.com. You'll find it in the description below. Date night, husband, wife, you're getting to know someone. These 30 questions will help you know your partner in a more deeper and intimate way. So,
Pull a question. Pull a question. Let me see.
oh yeah, so she beat me to the punch, Q.
She beat you to the
Oh,
punch. She
Yeah,
ready.
she
Didn't
ready.
I tell you this
see
is
if
this
I
is
need
my
to,
this my cousin now. This my cousin.
let's see if I need to ask my sneaker link some on one of these questions. See what it's saying. See if the sneaker link gonna answer this question.
Okay, well, yeah, let's jump into this. We'll take it light. What makes you feel most valued?
Food, food.
Food.
Yeah, bring me food like the food that I like. Food, flowers,
Mhm.
um, sleep. Like leave me alone, sleep. Not like, oh, I went to bed and I went to sleep and then I had to get up in the morning to take kids to school. Like, oh, she sleeps, she don't have to get up today for nothing. So let her sleep
And
for
I'm
a
gonna take
long,
the
long
kid.
time. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna take the kids and I'm gonna come back in and I don't know if she eating meat or not meat. So I'm gonna boil some eggs and make some cream of wheat and one strip of bacon and then wait for her to come out here and have coffee.
Oh, you got it
And
already
then
in.
I'm like, you thought about me and what matters to me and how I feel. And that's not very expensive.
It's
That's
not.
It's
just
not.
thoughtful.
It's
That's
not.
That's just, that's just thoughtful. I think value for me into being feeling valued is somebody being thoughtful, like and intentional, like of what I like, not like random. Like I don't want a gift card. I do like gift cards, but that's
because
not
we do.
thoughtful to me.
But it's
I
not
like
as
gift
thoughtful.
cards,
Yeah.
cash app sales, all of that.
All that. We like all that.
Yeah, because
But
I think
however, the most intentional, like you said, things are the thing. So the most intentional thought process are those who consider you where you are, what you need. That's what makes you feel valued.
And most of the time it's food and sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
food and sleep. And then when you wake up, there's like some roses next to your bed.
Red roses,
Yeah.
that's my favorite flowers. Any color rose, really, but just roses are good for me. And you know, like the washers on Coming to America, in my tub, but the men washers.
Yeah.
The one from Come to America 2, the second Come to America, where he was under, some washers.
Hey, I'm just kidding.
Okay. Okay.
Come
Love
back.
it. Love it.
Come back. She's like the
Uh,
one with the big muscles and
Strong.
no, love it. This is good. So yeah, love it. Yeah, gotta be proactive, Hey, let Auntie Eve get some sleep. Leave her alone. Let her
Gotta
rest.
get some
because she's having a lot of babies out here.
That's
for
true.
real.
That's true. Out here changing the world. You out here helping people.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
God is good.
What advice do you give to someone who is interested in becoming a doula or midwife, especially in the Black community?
Hmm, do it. Um, I don't think of being a doula or a midwife as anything I ever said I want to be. I never said I want to be a doula.
Mm,
I, I was born a doula. I
mm,
just didn't know it. I just didn't know that I was a doula. I was born a midwife. My feet, my body, my spirit was placed on this earth to be a doula and a midwife. I didn't realize that until I started walking in it and was like, why does this feel like I've done it before? Or, kind of that deja vu, and or why am I successful at doing things that nobody necessarily taught me how to do? So I say do it. Go do the training. To be a doula, you don't have to be under a specific certification um, entity.
yeah.
You don't even have to be certified. A lot of times when people are hiring doulas, they do want to know where you're certified. So if you're uncertified, you're probably serving more on a personal level, or, people in your family or community. But as a certified doula, I won't say they're one size fits all, but Mama Glow is great. And she's a Black doula trainer, Latham Thomas, and she's got an amazing scholarship program that's happening, I think, right now. I hope the deadline is not over, but Mama Glow has a really beautiful training program for doulas. And there are a plethora of trainings for doulas. I trained with Best, I trained with Donna, I trained with everybody and
Mhm.
then realized I didn't necessarily need all of those things to serve in the space as a doula for my mothers. What I needed was the heart for it. So if you want to be a doula, don't do it just because it looks cute or you like babies. Like, you really have to do that same question search for yourself, and then read on those trainings and see what aligns with you, what you like, what you feel good about, what sounds like you, and go out there and do it. As a midwife, you have to decide, do you want to be a nurse midwife, which would be a certified nurse midwife is a CNM, or a practitioner midwife, which is more of a traditional midwife, is a CPM. They both serve the same role, but nurse midwives usually are nurses first, or become a nurse first and go through nursing school, and then they do their midwifery journey. Sometimes they can kind of do them together. And nurse midwives are given a higher prescriptive authority for some of the hospital meds that you might see given in the hospital, or they usually work in hospitals. Now, we have quite a few CNMs in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex that work outside of the hospital, but a lot of times you see nurse midwives that work in hospital, which is a beautiful blend of holistic and medical care. And then practitioner midwives are going to be usually more holistic. They're going to do things more with herbs and tinctures and um, out of hospital births, like a birth center or in your home.
Got you. Got you.
Mhm.
That's good. So if you have any questions for our guests, please leave your comments below. If you have any questions for our guests, very informative topic today. The
Oh, we found
question,
my family.
yeah, excuse me?
I said, I found my family.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. This is good. Very informative. So how does insurance, how does that work? Does that cover
Mhm.
for a doula? And if not, what are the costs and
Hmm.
the payment options? What does that look like?
I'm very expensive.
Okay.
Okay, I'm very expensive. But
Next question.
everybody is
Do you got
okay. Next,
virtual sessions? You got virtual sessions? Because I'm just trying to save on the gas. Maybe that's it. I'm
just
just
trying to see. But
You
no,
take you
so
take Venmo?
right.
No, I'm joking.
see, Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, all of them, PayPal. So doula services, I would say generally range depending on experience and then the volume of clients that a doula is accepting. I generally only take 1 to 2 clients a month. So my range is a little higher. And I've also been a doula for 6 years now.
Got you.
But dealers are generally, I would say, $900 to $1,000 on the lower end to probably $2,500 to $3,000 on the higher end. But most
What
of
is
the
that per
time,
what? Per what? I need to know.
per pregnancy,
Okay. I
if
just need
you,
to know
girl,
per
you my
what. But I'm not
cousin.
pregnant. So per what? Session?
You my cousin. Our session's gonna be like wine. You bring the food, I bring the wine. Like
Okay.
you bring the, I bring the, you
Boom.
know, like that. We good.
Okay.
I got.
Okay. 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 Okay.
I smelt you a mile away.
You see what I'm saying?
But doulas can accept insurance. And there's something that I'm not completely well versed on right now that's new called Carrot that I think is being run through insurance as well. Or a lot of families use FSA or HSA.
Hmm.
But doulas that cannot accept insurance, those doulas pay usually in a payment plan. So you're going to pay a deposit anywhere from 25 to 50% of whatever their full package amount is. And then they're just going to allow you to pay as you go. And if you think about it, you're pregnant, you find out you still usually have 8 more months to go. So if you prioritize yourself because you are about to birth a human, you could probably afford to do 7 payments or 6 payments to make sure that you have the birth outcome that you want. So definitely an investment. Like you don't get a redo on your birth. You don't get to do it over. Once you have that baby, you have that baby.
Yeah.
And when
Like
we talk
next
about,
time, this is what I'm gonna do.
oh, I'm a you next time I have my son, a different son? No, this same one. No, this is
Yeah.
the only
Yeah.
time. And our trauma, that's where our trauma comes from. It's generational trauma that comes from how we entered the earth, how we took our first breath. The foundation is set, the brain is formed in the body. And when that baby comes out, if it is not peaceful and full of love and surrounded with support, no matter where you birth, you could birth out of your vagina as a natural unmedicated birth. You could have a C section, you could have unmedicated, you could have medicated. But if it's not peaceful, surrounded in support and love, and you don't feel seen and heard, you have just birthed with trauma. And you are passing that traumatic energy on to your baby. And that is generation after generation. If this is a female baby, she holding your grandbabies the minute she come out.
And I was told that anyhow, because I'd asked someone, even from a psychological standpoint, like we do have to recognize that it is traumatic for us anyway to be born. It's traumatic for us 100% of the time, no matter what race, color, creed you
Period.
are. It is
To come out.
100% traumatic
Yes.
based off of a psychologist. They said, well, it's traumatic. That's the reason why our brain doesn't hold memory of it.
Yeah, because it's
We
such a
can't
hard shift.
breathe. It's all kind of things that are
But
happening in that process. So then to come out, and then you're still in a position where, we're like untethered. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You don't want to welcome you into a circumstance like that with the child, and nor do you want to welcome the child with that, because they talk about how like connection is like the most important focus when we first give
that's
birth.
the
But
attachment theory. If you
yes,
look at that attachment theory,
Yeah.
and you know what happened to us as Black babies, don't spoil that baby, let that baby cry.
exactly. Or even when they're first born, the taking and separating and stuff, and they're not bad all the
Yeah,
time. But what I'm saying is sometimes because of what we've experienced, now we need that.
we
We're
need
like,
that.
can you?
That's what you're looking for.
Can
That's
you?
why we have abandonment trauma. That's why we have
Yeah.
rejection trauma, abandonment trauma, and we're withdrawn. Or, if you were told to let it cry it out, now you're hyper independent. Like, ain't nobody coming for me when I cry, so I got to figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
That's that. That's that.
And
I'm grown.
we rebuke that. We rebuke that.
We rebuke that. We're changing the narrative.
We're
Yeah.
changing the narrative. That's good. Okay.
What is the term? There's a term for that. I cannot think of it where it's like the trauma from like slavery passed on a generation.
That's the generational trauma. It's generational trauma.
Yeah, there's
You
another
said there's
term.
another term.
There's another one that
Ask Google it.
I got all these
We'll
devices.
circle back. Yeah, he
Yeah,
got
we'll circle
I
35
can't
back.
seconds.
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah.
But when you think back, for me, like I've now had so many conversations that had become inspired by my ancestors. I was trying to figure out from my mother, my grandmother, my mother's mother, was born in Virginia, but then she was moved with a whole nother family in New York. And nobody ever knew why. I'm like, Mommy, well, what's going on? And we sit and had a conversation, and she was like, well, grandmommy, she looked a lot different than her siblings. So we're talking she was born in 1908.
Mm.
She was born to a black woman and a white man, and she couldn't stay in that family. So they had to, allegedly, we don't know, but the blue eyes and the blonde hair say so. So if I go back and think, then when my grandmother, who wasn't raised with her family and had to move from Virginia and get pregnant and have her daughter by herself, and then she's holding my mother in her womb, and my mother is holding me in her womb. The eggs in a fetus are formed around 12 to 16 weeks. So when you're in your mother's womb as a girl baby, your babies are in your womb.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if you believe that I can flip this switch and turn this light on and off, and it'll do it every time, boop, boop. We just trust that. If I click it, the energy is there. But we don't believe that the energy that's stored in my body can transfer from me to you to what's in me. I could transfer my energy from right here at my house at 2532 to your house, because that's how energy works. We
Yeah.
just only see what we can see. But that generational trauma comes from the abandonment my grandmother felt that transfused into my mother, and then into
Yep.
me, and then to my children. And now, and sometimes we don't even know, because we don't even know where our ancestors come from.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh my
That's good.
God.
So listen, I know that there is so much information that we can gather from you. And
Oh,
for
sure.
some of that, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but we're gonna tap in to follow you to, get
Yeah.
educated. And I'm so serious because again, like I started out saying, this conversation cannot be had enough.
Yeah.
There's never a moment where you can say, okay, this is enough already, even though I'm not gonna have any more children. That does, we're around people who
But
are
you're the auntie.
absolutely, and I'm the auntie because I am. I'm in these streets as Auntie Q. So I mean, but in reality, y'all, we impact one another. It's nothing wrong with us rallying around as a support. But unfortunately, we have come to, the it's so hard to say goodbye time. Um, it's so hard to say goodbye. But yeah, Sean, I know this conversation was enlightening for me. What would you say for you?
Oh man, powerful. I didn't expect anything less. I didn't. And I felt like this series, just two-part series, but I thought it was just needed. I felt like there were so many Black women who don't have this information, or at least have the access to it to, whether if they're subscribers or I'm just sharing the content, you just never know who this one episode can help.
Right.
Amen.
So,
Amen. We don't know what we don't know.
True
right.
story.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. So, Auntie Eve, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you.
2-1. No, I'm just kidding. Eve Birth Services. I'm Eve Birth Services on Facebook, IG. I think I got a TikTok, but don't quote me on it. And all platforms, Eve Birth Services. And I'm not a very big social media person, but I am a very big social person.
Mm.
So if there's a question, if you want to connect, if there's something that you can't find the content or answers for on my page, you can always message me. I've had random Instagram calls. If I'm up, I will answer. If I'm not, I will not, because I've learned to set them boundaries. But I am a student midwife and a doula. I'm still actively serving as a doula, but I only take a few clients per month. And you can reach out on social media, or all of my email and contact information is there on social media as well. And if you're my people, you already know it. So reach out and follow.
For sure.
Love it.
Love it. Love it.
Now,
And
when
Q.
are we gonna do this again? Do we get to do things again?
Oh yeah, for sure. Once you come on, you're always welcome. I'm
Okay,
just an
next time we're
inbox
gonna talk
away.
about something else. We'll just find a new topic and we'll talk about the same thing, but we'll call it something different.
Oh yeah, and we can especially the
Now
men.
we'll find a way to talk about the same thing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's gonna circle right back into this.
We will for sure. Yeah, the door is always open. Once you come on, you're family, so it's all
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna just
So
put myself on your calendar. That's all I'm gonna just
This was
let's go. Let's go. I love it because I can't wait to release this because this is so
it's
good.
good. Yeah, this is great.
Q, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you.
Aquila Maddox, the inspirationalist, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah.
holler.
Same great time, same great place.
Yeah. TikTok is back for you. So
Yes, TikTok is back for me. I got a new device and I thought I was about to making my way downtown to Canada. That's what I thought I was gonna do to get my TikTok back. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, some sis on TikTok gave us a lovely little hack, and that jank work, okay? And I'm
yeah.
so grateful. Amen. I feel like the Lord has restored. No, that's
Amen.
just me. Okay, no worries.
Amen. Amen. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, TikTok is that's a whole conversation.
Whole
We'll be
conversation.
on here for
I
another
gotta
hour.
still figure out where we're going because we don't know. We're in limbo. However, at least
Let's
I can
see.
scroll.
Yeah,
But
right.
hey, my scroll is that's a whole nother topic too. But I do scroll on the TikTok. It's a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
cowboys on TikTok. A lot of them.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, I love TikTok. But it's starting to grow eventually. So and then I'll have some clips and stuff ready that I'll share on TikTok as well. So that'll be able to help some people as well. If you are watching this via YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, share this with someone you never know who need it. And I always say share it in your group chat because it's like four of y'all in this group chat. And once you put this video in there. And then y'all can
It
start
goes
talking
viral.
about it, and then you share it with your girlfriend, and just share it. If you are listening to this via podcast, make sure you leave a rating and review. By doing so, it leaves you in a drawing for a free Amazon gift card. So who doesn't like free stuff? This
I
was
love
a
it.
phenomenal episode, Bravehearts community. We are out.